Hi, everybody. My name is Johnny Dosco, and welcome to Big League Coaching. Our Big League instructor today is none other than Eric Ortega. Eric is the medical review analyst for the San Francisco Giants in his 15th year as the athletic trainer in the Giants organization, and the last 6 years as the Big League Club's assistant athletic trainer. Eric was a huge contributor to the 2014 World Series Championship Ball Club, and today, Eric is going to be talking to our class about footwork. You know, Eric, it's funny, in my years of calling AAA baseball, I've talked to players and haven't really broached the subject to them about footwork. And now I see you have an entire class on it, so it must be a pretty vital part of the game.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Thanks for that warm introduction, man. That was great. I really appreciate that. And thank you to our class for attending and coming to our footwork presentation. And Johnny, to answer your question, footwork is vital. I think it's a highly underrated part of everybody's game, in which I think it's something that if you haven't started to train, you're missing out. I truly believe that and again, I don't want to get too far into it. I got a presentation to show and some things to really give to the class. So, but I really do believe that if kids young and even older, as they start into their baseball career, even some that have been in their baseball career for 5-10 years now, I believe if they haven't started training and they do, it's going to be able to elevate their game just a little bit, enough to set them apart. They may be an average player now. It could set them to be an above average or maybe even elite level player one day. And I think it's, like I said, a very underrated and a vital part of the game and ultimately be your finished product. So I think it's important, and that's why we're having a whole class on it.
Outstanding. Let's get to it.
Sounds good. All right, Johnny. So this is Big League Coaching again, and I'm Eric Ortega, and we're going with enhancing athletic performance, specifically footwork. So before we get started, I just want to talk about some disclosures and disclaimers. Again, all content, both written and oral, is opinion and experience based through many years of education, research, and development. It's my opinion and my experience that we're going to be utilizing and talking about. And again, it's because of the work I've done with younger athletes, older athletes, guys that have been in their prime. It's a collection of all that, what I brought to the class today. Also, there will be no talks, discussions, or questions about non-public information centered around Major League Baseball or the San Francisco Giants. And then, as with any medical, sports performance, or exercise-based discussions, please use caution, use a level head, really think about what it is that you're doing and I'm asking you to do, and then always receive clearance from your local healthcare provider to make sure that you're good and healthy to do this. I'm not going to be asking you to do too many outrageous activities, but the things we will be doing, I just want to make sure you're good and you're healthy. So we're going to go ahead with some class participation right now. And Johnny, you're more than welcome to participate. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a little imagery. I'm going to ask you guys to think about your favorite athlete, whatever position it may be. It could be a center fielder, right fielder, pitcher, first baseman, shortstop. For me, that's going to be Brandon Crawford. He brings a lot to the game, and I'll explain a little bit later. But what I want you to think about, and I want you to think about with your player, is I want you to think about a play that you've seen them make, something that they went and did on the field that took you out of your seat, took you out of your element, and it kind of got you on your feet and sent you in this crazy frenzy. When I do this and I see a play like Brandon Crawford and I watch him on routine, I got a chance to watch him routinely on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm a little biased, but again, when I get to see some of the plays that he's made, I look at things a little bit different. But I want to ask you, what is it that you guys see? So for instance, what starts it? What started that imagery in your mind? Was it, did you just automatically go to the final catch? Did you go to somewhere in the middle of your player's run, somewhere in the middle of the player's play? So I guess my question I'm going to first ask is positioning what starts it? Is it where he's at on the field? Now in the game today, all we're doing is seeing, shortstops now play over second base. We're moving the third baseman over to second base. We're moving the right fielders and having them shift all the way over. Are we seeing great plays because of where we're positioning him now versus where we've had him positioned in the past? That's an object. How about speed? Is it the guy's overall quickness? Is it his ability to reach top end speed that gets him to that ball that maybe somebody else didn't? Well, I kind of think it's both, But when I see and when I look at my favorite play and I look back, I close my eyes and I do a little imagery, for me, it starts with the footwork. And everyone kind of, you hear people talk about footwork around second base, on the mound, footwork for your catchers. And realistically, everyone, what is it? That's what the question I always get. What is footwork? And for me, this is what footwork is. Footwork is the key to effective movement, swiftly from one position to another without sacrificing balance and control. So let's go back to, for me, Brandon Crawford. And when I watch him take this play, when I watch him move, when I watch him go back on a ball deep in the hole or up the middle behind second base, I watch his feet. I watch how he positions himself. I watch how he reads the ball and realizes, you know what? I have to move my body into a different position to be able to feel that ball cleanly. And so what he does is he simply plants his foot in the ground. He feels the ground, feels the reaction of the ground, and then he responds back. That is footwork. That is key. Again, it's effective movement. It's swift and it's from one position to another without sacrificing balance or control. So I looked online. I wanted to see if there was any quotes on footwork that I can leave you with. I found one. Footwork is one of the primary prerequisites to becoming a great player. Okay, who said that? Mike Krzyzewski. I'm pretty sure he has a pretty good idea of what footwork needs to happen. He's had a lot of basketball players. He's had a lot of people go through his program, and a lot of them, made it to the pros. So here I am speaking about footwork. If a coach like Mike Krzyzewski says footwork is pretty important, I'm going to go ahead and say it's very important to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, Eric, I've watched these shortstops and second basemen through the years. You were talking about Brandon Crawford. I remember watching Miguel Tejada as he was coming through the A system, watching him in Modesto. And I always wondered, how in the world did he get to that ball? He had that great range. And I guess it does really all start with this footwork, doesn't it?
No doubt, Johnny. Like I said, I think people just really don't notice that. And his ability to get to a ball that maybe someone didn't, or maybe he got to it a lot more cleaner. And it, in my opinion, really does come down to that footwork. So today's footwork topics, we're going to talk about the agility ladder. We're going to talk about the dot drill. And then we're going to talk about lower body injury prevention techniques. Now, I'm not going to be talking about every injury prevention technique. I'm only going to be targeting certain areas that are going to help us or help you ensure that you remain healthy during your footwork workouts. So, agility ladder. Here we go. The agility ladder. I've heard it by 1,000 names. I've heard it as agility ladder, box ladder, 10 rung ladder, whatever you decide to call it, stick with it. That's all that matters. Just know. For me, what does the agility ladder do for us? Well, it increases foot speed. Please listen to what I'm saying. Foot speed. I'm not saying top end speed. I'm not saying you're going to do the agility ladder and all of a sudden you're going to be this world-class sprinter. I do believe it will increase your speed a little bit because you're going to be running more efficiently and effectively. But my take on the agility ladder is that it increases our foot speed, our ability to move our feet quickly underneath us so that it can put us in that better fielding position. It's going to make us more agile. Like I said, foot speed, it's going to increase quickness. But the other things that I really like about it is that it's going to strengthen our joints, ligaments, and tendons. And people ask me, well, how can it do that? Well, because you're using ground reaction forces. And what I'm saying is as you go through this, you're moving your feet in all these different directions. And all you're doing is you're hitting that ground, you're feeling that ground, and that ground is now reacting back towards you. Well, your tendons, your ligaments, and your joints, they're all going to feel that pressure, and they're going to be able to strengthen based on that pressure, based on the position you put your body in. So not only is it going to do all those previous things I talked about, but it's going to make you a better athlete because you're going to be a little bit stronger. And then ultimately, one thing why I like the agility ladder is because it could be used as a high intensity interval training, a workout, if you will. You can go ahead and just do that for the day, and you could get some really good work in it. I know a lot of our guys, when they do it, they're sweating, they got a lot of blood flow, and they feel nice and warm for the rest of the day.
Eric, how often do you prescribe these agility exercises to your players, and what would the reps and sets consist of?
I would say, honestly, right now, about once a week is that how often I would prescribe doing the agility ladder. And the reason I say once a week is because we're hitting every day. We're fielding every day. Our pitchers are working on their mechanics. They have strength conditioning. They have other types of cardiovascular needs that have to go on. So I believe that once a week would be sufficient enough. And then in terms of reps and sets, we'll get in that a little bit more, just because certain exercises are done one way while the other exercises for the agility ladder have to be kind of twofold, because you're moving in one direction and you got to obviously train the other one. So I can't give you a specific number, but if you ran through each exercise a couple times, because remember, the ladder is not that long. If you ran through it a couple times, you would be able to get a good workout in. So we'll go ahead and continue and talk more a little bit as we go on.
Great.
So this is our agility ladder, okay? These are going to be the exercises we're going to focus on today. We're going to talk about the 1 foot in. We're going to talk about 2 feet in. We're going to talk about a 2-foot side shuffle. We're going to talk about switch stance. And then we're going to talk about everybody's favorite one, because it's probably one of the most difficult ones to do, is the 2 in, 2 out zigzag.
Hey, before you get into this, how does this drill kind of help develop that explosiveness, you know, that first step?
Gotcha. So what it's going to teach us is the minute we put our foot down and you feel that ground, we're going to be able to pick that foot right back up. But not only just are we going to pick it up, we're going to have positioned our body to go in the opposite direction quickly, fast, swiftly, so that when we pick it up, we don't topple over, we don't fall down. So is it explosiveness to the point where you're exploding and now you're going to reach a new height in your vertical jump? No. But it is explosiveness in terms of the minute you put it down, you can explode right off your foot and be going in another direction really fast, really quick. And I think it's something that, again, like I said, this is going to help elevate our games.
Gotcha.
So we're going to start with the agility ladder, the 1 foot in exercise. I'm going to tell you, it's pretty self-explanatory. But what I'm going to be able to show you right now is that, excuse me, what I'm going to be able to show you right now is that 1 foot goes in each square. And all we're going to do is we're just going to simulate the running technique, okay? We're going to get our arms swinging. We're going to get our arms pumping. We're going to use good running form. Everything should be going straight ahead. And at no point do we want to get a good forward lean. We want to do what I like to call being stacked, where everything's right above your body and the chest is up. You're not looking down at the rung. Your chest is up and your feet are propelling you. I don't want your head leaning forward to where your head is now leading and the body's dragging behind it. I want your feet to propel you. So what I did for you guys, just to see it pretty easy, is I have a generic ladder off to the side, and I'm just going to do a little footwork pattern, so it just kind of helps explain what it is that we're going to be doing before we get into a video. So as you can see, we're just going left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Again, it's just left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Let's see that one more time. Pretty self-explanatory, not too hard. This one's a fairly simple one, so let's move on. So we're going to watch a video. This is the 1 foot in video. And here we go. And as you can see, arms are pumping and we're just going in and out, not worried about how fast we're going, but we want our knees to come up, not all the way to the top like we're in a high knee situation, but I do want them to come up. I want you to explode right off the ground. I want good foot contact. I want you to be on the balls of your feet. I don't want you to be on your heels. I want you to be on the balls of your feet. And then once you feel that ground, I want you to pop back up. Let's go ahead and watch that one more time. And it's okay if you step on a rung. It's no big deal. What we don't want to do is we don't want to drag the rung, because then all of a sudden our ladder is going to get all tangled and we're going to lose steam. So again, that was the 1 foot in video. I apologize. I'm not really sure what. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to go with our 2 feet in. So what this is going to do is we're going to have 2 feet in each square. Okay, we're going to remain over our feet and we're going to remain in control. The object here is control, because unlike the 1 foot where we were just now we're trying to cram 2 feet into a littler box, and we're trying to almost do a quick pitter patter, pop, 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 so that we can get our feet in, get our feet out, and get our feet moving. Again, it's key here. You're going to want to slow down on this one just a tiny bit. I don't want you going so fast that all of a sudden now you sacrifice your control, you sacrifice your ability to remain over your feet. Again, you start leading your head, your toes are going to drag, and you're going to go ahead and pick up. So let's go ahead and watch the foot pattern. As you can see, it's left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Really simple, really self-explanatory. Let's watch that one more time. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Nice and easy. So let's see how that looks. So here we go with our 2 feet in video. As you can see, both feet coming up and in, nice and simple. Arms are pumping, body staying right up on top of itself. Let's watch that one more time. Here we go, 2 feet in, pumping, pumping. Again, stepping on rungs, not a problem. You don't want your toes dragging the front, but I think that was pretty self-explanatory. It was a nice up and down, got the nice feet going. You could see the athlete was on his toes and he was just up and down, up and down. That's the 2 foot in video. So now we're gonna go to the two feet side shuffle. So now instead of going straight up the ladder, we're gonna still do our 2 feet in each square. However, we're gonna start moving laterally up the ladder. So we're gonna be looking either to the left or right. It does not matter on which way you start. What matters is you don't forget to switch. People always forget to switch because you can't just train one direction. I get as a base stealer, as a base runner, we're always moving to the right because the next base is always to our right. However, we need to be able to train both sides because in the game of baseball, you will not be moving just one direction. You will be moving two. So again, 2 feet in each square, move laterally up the ladder and switch on the second time through. Let's go ahead and watch this foot pattern. You can see left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And all we're doing is we're kind of just replacing our steps. Again, it's not going to be a shuffle, or it's not going to be just like a side step. We're shuffling. We're picking up our feet. We're shuffling. And I want those feet to come up a little bit. Let's watch that one more time just to make sure we're all clear for our class. Left, right, left, right, left, right. And as one moves, the other comes. As one moves, the other comes. Let's go ahead and watch the video on this one. Go ahead and press play. As you can see, we're going to start sideways and we're going to, boom, you can see the arms are pumping, knees are up, and our toes are moving. We're on the balls of our feet, and each rung is getting hit with 2 feet, and we're moving sideways up. Ready? We're going to watch it one more time. Sideways up. You can see the feet going up and down. It's okay. Stepping on rungs, no problem, but we got to get those feet up so we don't drag them. I don't have video of switching it just because I didn't feel like we need to watch it one more time, but you're going to run through a couple of those. You're going to do it 3 or 4 times, and then you're going to go ahead and switch off to the right side. Switch to the other side. I'm not really sure which direction you guys started with. For me, I started left, and we're going to go ahead and flip to the right. So now we come to our little agility ladder switch stance. This one gets a little bit more technical. So now we're going to be still moving laterally up the ladder. However, our foot position starting is a little different, and then the way we go about it will be different. This will no longer be a high knee up and down pattern. Actually, what it's going to be an alternating foot pattern. So we're going to be switching our stance. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with our right foot in the first rung, and then our left foot is just going to be a little bit out. So let's go ahead and see the pattern, and then we'll watch it a couple of times to make sure we get it all. So we start right in, left out, and now we're just replacing feet. We're switching. And what we need to make sure we do, we need to make sure that what we don't do is I don't want the upper torso rotating. I don't want those things moving. I want the feet moving. I want all the movement from below the waist down. I want the legs to be moving with the chest straight, the up, making sure we're going in that lateral motion. So let's go ahead and watch this. Again, notice the setup. Right foot in, left foot out. And we're just going to be switching and replacing. Again, from the hip, I don't want any movement up. I want it all from down. The arms are going to be moving in a little bit different fashion for this one. So it's going to be a little tough. But the main thing is to stay upright and keep over your feet. And it's not going to be a hop. Don't hop. I want you to just kind of, it's a small get up is what it is. And it's replaced. So let's watch this. Right foot in, left foot out. And we're just going to go ahead and switch. As you can see, the arms are moving and we're just switching. All we're doing is switching feet. As you can see, we try to do a really good job of keeping our upper body straight, our upper body posture nice and level, and all the movements from the hip. And it's not a rotation. It's footwork. It's the feet moving. It's you fielding a ground ball and you staying straight to the ball, but you having to redirect your feet because it's in the middle of a bad hop. because the player's coming down on you. So you got to, the runner's coming down. So you got to either back up or move forward. All it is we're replacing feet. Perfect. Nice. Let's go ahead and move on. So now we get to the toughest one of the group. It's the 2 in, 2 out zigzag. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult, so we're going to walk through this one a little bit. So this is going to be now a forward movement up the ladder. Again, in the past couple, we've been doing lateral movements. Now this is going to be a forward movement. And it's not just going to be straight. It's going to be a forward movement with a zigzag across. So we're kind of just going to be going in a transverse plane from left side of the ladder to the right side and then back to the left. So we're going to begin on the outside of the ladder around the first rung. Now the movement is a zigzag pattern across the ladder where both of our feet, so 2 feet, are going to go in each square as they move to the other side out of the side of the ladder. And then both feet are going to hit there too. Then we're going to come back with both feet, and then both feet are going to get out. Now, you're hearing me say both feet. This is not a hop. This is still going to be 1 foot, then the next foot. The problem, or the thing is we got to make sure we get all the way out. I want both feet to get all the way out. Now, you don't have to stop. You don't have to pause when you get out, but you can just tap. So let's watch the foot pattern so we get it. So we're going to start to the left, and as you can see, the feet are moving. Both feet are getting in. Both feet are coming out. Both feet are going in. Both feet are coming out. Nice and easy, just like that. This, I would say, we need to really start slow. The reason we need to start slow is because this one's one of the most complicated ones. And as we go about it, I want to make sure that foot comes out and attaches, because now we can use both feet. We can prepare both feet to go ahead and propel us across the way. So here we go. Last time we're going to watch it. Left, right. They're both getting out. Now they're both coming in. Now they're both going out, both going back in. So let's go ahead and watch this video. And we'll watch it a couple times because this one is a more difficult one to truly understand. So we're going to start to the left, and we're going to go each foot. Boom. There will be a little pause because that foot has to come back down. But what you can see is it's coming down and it's hitting the ground and reacting. You can see the outside foot is preparing. Oops, I apologize. You can see the outside foot is preparing the body to go ahead and redirect the other way. That little tap that you're seeing is only to pause, is only to regroup the body before it jumps into the other direction. So again, starting to the left, moving through, getting to the right, and we're just going zigzag in and out. This isn't one that you need to start left and start right. You can always start left because you're still getting that. Whether you start back, whether you start forward, whether you have 2 ladders attached together, you're still getting the left and right. So don't feel like on this one you need to start on 2.
Hey, so Eric, do the exercises on agility vary depending on the position someone plays? In other words, is it different for an outfielder as opposed to a middle infielder?
So the actual exercises aren't going to really differ per position. What's going to differ though is how they utilize them. For instance, our pitchers, they're not going to do, they're not going to be on an everyday basis. They're going to be more linear. They're going to be more get their set feet, get ready to react. They may have to run forward on a pass ball. They may have to feel their position, react, and then get ready to throw back. But for like our outfielders, they're going to be doing a lot of drop step. They're going to be doing a lot of crisscrossing. Maybe the way the ball came off the bat initially is different from then when they actually got to where they anticipated the catch. So that's where you're going to see some of these motions, some of these feet, some of these patterns really come into play. Similarly, you're going to see that on the infield too, because your position player is going to be ready, and depending on what happens, let's say it's a hit and run and our shortstop goes to cover. Here they come. He's running in that direction, and all of a sudden the player puts the ball, and instead of putting it down second base, he hits it to the shortstop, or maybe a little bit to his right. Now the shortstop has to completely redirect. That just looked like a zigzag pattern to me. Here he is taking off to the left, all of a sudden sees the ball redirect. Boom, I have to plant my feet just like in the zigzag, and I have to shoot in the other direction to make that play. So I hope that answered your question.
It did. It sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the main thing here is to kind of stay in control, and faster doesn't necessarily mean better. Control is the key, right?
Exactly. You can put tempo and speed on control, but if you start with tempo and speed, you can't then begin to control that. You're going to get frustrated. I've seen people walk away from the ladder because this thing's stupid. I can't do it. Slow down. get
Yeah.
the movements right, get your foot pattern correctly before you move on to speed and tempo. I'd rather see someone go through these drills slow than to just crush them and go as fast as they can. And the next thing you know, the ladder's everywhere and it's just really affecting the whole thing.
Gotcha.
So here we go. We're going to move on to the dot drill. This is our dot drill mat. As you can see, it's a 5 circular disc system. It's on a nice mat. The exercises we're going to be doing on this is the 2 out, 2 in, 2 out spin, the 2 out, 2 in. I'm sorry, 2 out, 2 in, 2 out reverse. Then we're going to move to a 2-footed hourglass and then a 1-footed hourglass. And the exercises in this position are going to go from a little bit more easier to a little bit more difficult in terms of you're using 2 feet on the first 2 or on the first 3, and then that final 1 is going to be a 1-footed hop. So you're really going to be able to see what foot you're a little bit more explosive on and what foot might lack some of that strength or explosiveness. And Johnny, this is back to your question about explosiveness with the ladder. I feel like you're going to get a little bit more explosiveness off of this because you're actually propelling your body to move quickly in an upward fashion with 2 feet at the same time. And so I really feel you can get a good explosive workout with this as well.
Okay, before you get going, how quickly can you expect to see results from the dot drills?
You know, again, like I said before, it's going to be very arbitrary to what age we're starting with, and then ultimately the movement pattern and the available movement pattern that each person has. The main thing to take home again is to do these correctly. Don't completely do them for speed right away, but do them correctly so that you can understand the pattern. Then once you get really comfortable with the pattern, you can go ahead and add tempo and add speed. And I think if you do it in the correct fashion, you take the time to learn, I think you're going to see that your results, whether it be accuracy or quickness or time, is going to improve greater this way as opposed to if you were to just try to do it fast and not do it correctly the first time.
Yeah, you know, I was watching you do those videos and I was thinking, you know, what if you made it like a competition amongst teammates for the fastest time and accuracy? You got to make it fun. What do you think of that?
You know what? Not a bad idea, but you have to make sure you're not incorporating people who you have to make sure you identify who is in the like category. If guys are roughly in the same accuracy rate, if they're roughly in that same ability to move and to move their body correctly, then yeah, I'd go ahead and say let's go for it. But you know, when we start talking about younger athletes, when we start talking about our little leaguers, their stages of development are so different that I'd hate to pin a kid against another, maybe a little less athletic kid against a more athletic kid and say, hey, we're going to do this for time and winner gets $1. I don't know, whatever it may be, or winner gets their name up on the board. I'd hate for someone who right now, because maybe they're just not as athletic or they haven't done this before, I'd hate to put them in that category because this is something that could turn them off. So again, I would say we have to make sure that we have like athletes before we start doing that.
Fair enough.
So we're going to start with the dot drill, the 2 out, 2 in, 2 out spin. So it's relatively easy. As you can see, I put numbers for the dots just so it's real easy to understand. I can utilize number sequences and say where it is you have to go so we can really get a better grasp for this. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with 1 foot on each dot at the bottom of the mat. So that's going to be left foot on 1, right foot on 2. Then we're going to feet together at the center dot. So we're going to hop and land, boom, feet together at the center dot, dot number 3. Then we're going to hop again at the same time. Again, we're not hopping for height. We're hopping as low as we can to get to the direction we need to as fast as we can. But we want to do control before speed and tempo. So then from that center dot, we're going to hop. Our left is going to go to the 4. Our right foot is going to go to number 5. So 1 foot at each top of the mat. Now we're going to spin. So when we spin, our left foot, which was on 4, is now going to be on 5. And our right foot, which was on 5, is now going to be on 4. I want to make sure I stress this enough. The spin isn't a big hop and rotate. realistically, it's a small hop, and you spin the body around, and you want to try to replace your feet exactly where it is. That's part of the drill. That's part of being accurate, because if you can't get that down, there's going to be parts of the game where you're going to have difficulty with. So we want to make sure that we hit that right. And what you're going to do is then you're going to come back. You're going to double your feet at 3, then you're going to separate them again, and your left's going to be on 2, and your right's going to be on 1. Now remember, that's the first rep right there. Not just going up is 1 rep and then coming back is 2 reps. No. The whole movement is 1 rep. I also developed a little foot pattern for this just so we can understand, just so we can make sure. As we can see, nice and easy. Watch it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, spin and back down. Let's watch that one more time just to make sure we understand it. We're going to start at 1, 2, double to 3. We can see the spin, double to 3, back to the 1, 2. Again, that is 1 rep. Let's go ahead and watch the video. So just to give you a heads up, I understand going out and buying a mat is not, everyone can't do it. They're expensive. They're not cheap. So what did I do? I showed you exactly how I do this drill with my kids in my backyard. I put down some X's. I measured them out. The X's are at the bottom or shoulder width apart, and then the center X is right in the middle, about a foot away at an angular distance from both the left and right. And then I went ahead and made 2 more X's to the top, which would be number 4 and number 5. This, in my opinion, is an excellent way to do it, because getting a mat is, again, it's not for everybody, but this is something that anybody can do. Grab some duct tape, grab some, Scotch tape, some put down some disc, whatever it is, you can go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and watch this video. As you can see, left and right on 1, 2, we're going to jump. Nice spin. Now you see I added a little pause there. I wanted to make sure that I was good, I was firm, I was planted before I moved on. You don't plant, you're going to kind of throw yourself off, and then you're not going to finish properly and you're going to get discouraged. So I want to make sure that we get what we need. So let's watch it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, switch, back and forth. Nice, easy. It's a good transition on that spin. And I don't want people to get so over the top on their spin. So now this takes us to the 2 out, 2 in, 2 out reverse. So this is eerily similar to the spin. However, we are no longer going to be spinning once we reach 4, 5. We're actually just going to be reversing it, and we're going to be going backwards. So again, we're going to start 1 foot on each dot at the bottom of the mat. Our feet are going to come together at the center dot. They're going to split again at 4, 5. And then instead of spinning, we're going to now reverse it. So once we hit 4, 5, we're going to pop back to 3, then 3 to 1, 2. That is 1 rep right there. So let's go ahead and watch the footwork on this. As you can see, everything always stays forward. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 to 3, 3 to 4, 5, and then we're going to come back from 4, 5 to 3, and then to 1, 2. Last time we'll watch it just to make sure everybody's got it. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and watch the video on this one. So again, we got our tape down, and we're going to go ahead and make the jump. We're going to, again, spread our legs. 1, there we go. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of them just so you guys can see it as a pattern as it continues to go, because ultimately I'd love you to see you do 5 reps of each one. So let's go ahead and watch you see it. So we'll go up, down, and back is 1. Now we're going to go forward for the second. That was 2. So again, that's the 2 out, 2 in, 2 out reverse video. So now we're going to get a little bit more difficult. This is going to be more of a hop. This is going to be more of 2 feet moving at the same time. This is going to take you in almost like a picture slaloming, moguling skiing as you go down. You're going to kind of be bouncing back and forth. And the reason it's called the hourglass is because we're going to go in an hourglass shape. So both feet are going to be together, and they're going to start at the bottom left dot, dot number 1. We're going to do a bilateral hop to dot 3, which is the center, then up to the top left, which is 4, top right 5, back to center 3, bottom right 2, and then over to bottom left 1. That is 1 rep. Okay. Now we're going to have to, because we went one direction, we're going to have to reverse it and do it in the other direction. So now we're going to start with our 2 feet on the bottom right dot. And now we're going to go from 2 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 back to 2. Okay. That's going to be a rep for one direction and a rep for either. I would still suggest doing 5 reps of these. So this is going to feel like 2 separate exercises, even though they're the same, you're just doing them in a different position. So let's go ahead and watch the foot pattern here. As you can see, it's a bilateral hop. We're not hopping for height, we're hopping for quickness. We're going to take our feet and we're going to go fast from 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. I'm only going to show you the foot pattern in one direction. I'm fairly certain that we're each smart enough to understand how we go about it in the other direction. But let's go ahead and watch that one more time before we commit to a video. Perfect. Now let's get to our video. This is the 2-foot hourglass video. We're going to start bottom left again. Like I said, I believe I did a couple reps on this one. Yeah. And as you can see, boom, there we go. Nice and easy in that direction. Let's go ahead and watch it one more time just to make sure everybody's good, concise, and clear on what they're supposed to be doing. Perfect. Again, it's not a huge hop. It's a controlled hop. And we're trying to stay over our feet. So now this is where we get into it. This is the most difficult one of this group. There's others that I didn't state, but these are the ones that for me, it gives me the most problem. And you'll actually be able to see it in the video. So it's the 1-foot hourglass. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 1 foot on the bottom left dot number 1. Then we're going to hop from dot 1 to dot 3, then from dot 3 to dot 4 to dot 5, 5 back to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. And that's going to be 1 rep. I understand I put bilateral hop in there. I apologize. It is a 1-footed hop. You will not be hopping with 2 feet on that. But then you're going to also have to reverse it. So you're going to have to go with that same foot now on the right side. So you're going to start on dot number 2. You're going to go from 2 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 1, 1 to 2. That's 1 rep for each one on 1 foot. Now don't forget, that's only the right foot. You're going to have to flip it and do it on the left foot, and you're going to have to start on the left, and then you're going to have to do it again and start on the right. So this one is where the expanded nature of us doing it 1 foot kind of takes this to get a little bit longer, but it's fine because we need to train this. Let's go ahead and watch this foot pattern. And I believe it's the left foot that I'm starting with, and you can see it come through. Again, nice and easy, not very difficult. 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. Again, let's watch that one more time just to make sure we're all good and clear. 1, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and watch the video. I'm going to start on my right foot just because that's that's my stronger leg. So here we go. As you can see, I got my left foot up and I'm hopping. And I do these, and you can see I still shorted it a tiny bit up in that top left corner. That's how difficult and how much we need to continue to train these. And so we have to really emphasize getting that direction. And if you need to pause a little bit more, then pause. Don't feel like you have to go. Let's stay in control. Let's stay on top of our foot. Let's stay in a good movement pattern. I'd rather you do it correctly than to do it for speed, because if you do it for speed, you're going to end up falling. So that's our 1 foot hourglass video.
Hey, Eric, what position would you recommend these exercises for? Pitchers, infielders, outfielders? What do you think?
Well, I would, again, like with everything, I would recommend it for each position. But what I really saw a lot of benefit from was our catchers, because you got to think they're blocking the ball, they're getting up onto their feet, and then they have to find the ball. And it could be to their left, could be to the right, could be to their back. And so what they're doing is their feet are up, they're spread underneath them, just like if we'd be on 1-2, and then they're reacting. They're shifting to the left, shifting to the right, or they have to drop step and come back, whatever. Or maybe they have to spin, just like on that first one, the 2-footed spin. Maybe they have to spin to get to the ball behind them. However it is, their feet are constantly working under them, and they're popping into position. I really see it help our catchers. The other position that I really see it is our 2 middle infielders. And the reason I say that our 2 middle infielders, because here they come into their pre-pitch, they come into the hop, and how many times do we see that, just that fist right over, that fisted hit that goes right off the middle of the bat, and it goes right over our second basemen or shortstops, and they have to, pop, spin, turn, run, move in any direction. Or again, like I said, when a player's hitting, they're covering the bag, they have to be able to get to it quickly, and then pop back, if there's a ball in play, whatever it may be. So I really do see a really good, this is more reactionary, more the ball being right on you versus our outfielders. I tend to see the ladder drill being really good for our outfielders, and our dot drill more for those quick reactionary middle infielders, even corner infielders, because I mean, let's be honest, the ball's coming at them hot, and then as well as our catchers.
Right. Great.
So now we're going to get into some injury prevention. Again, like I discussed earlier, we're targeting certain areas. This is not injury prevention for gameplay. This is not injury prevention for making sure that you can get through the season. This is injury prevention for what we're doing. That is footwork workouts. So to prepare joints for the lower body for participation is what this injury prevention section is about. And the two that I really want to hit home about are ankle mobility and hip mobility. So I'm going to be talking about the ankle and be talking about the hip, because when you watched all those videos, you saw a lot of ankle work and you saw a lot of hip, because the hips were constantly moving. They were flexing, extending, their inward, internal rotation, external rotation. You saw the ankle move in all sorts of planes, accepting force, redistributing force, moving that body. So we need to make sure that we remain healthy. So how do we start? We're going to start with some ankle mobility rolls. Okay, these are really simple. For me, you're going to see where I struggle. Why? I broke my ankle when I was a young kid. I still lack range of motion because of the fracture, and you're going to be able to see that. But these ankle rolls, I could tell when I don't do them routinely enough, my ankle really starts to be bothersome, or really starts to bother me. So we're going to be up on the tippy toes. We're going to roll our ankle in both directions. Again, really self-explanatory. Here we go. As you can see on the tip toes, and now I'm rolling. You can see the hitch I have because of my ankle, but if I can work through that, it gets better and cleans up. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. We reposition every time. I don't want you to just go from where you were, because you wouldn't have been in a good position. So we have to reposition. Again, real basic, real easy. Let's watch it one more time, but just so we all have a clear understanding of what it is we're actually doing on it. But again, tippy toes, try to get full circular pattern of your ankle. And as you can see, my ankle finally started to loosen up. Here we go to the right. Again, full circular pattern as best as we can get. Nice and easy. And here we go. We'll move on. Now we're going to go three-way ankle mobility exercises. So our ankle doesn't have much rotation. It has a little bit of rotation. It moves more in a flexion extension pattern. Even though scientifically we call it both just flexion, both patterns flexion, that's ankle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. But just real quick, so we all understand, it moves in a forward and backward plane. So what we do is we're going to do a three-way ankle mobility, and all we're doing is just really trying to open the ankle joint so that we can get a little bit more play. So what we're going to do is we're going to place our toes, the front of our foot, about 4 inches from the wall. And what we're going to do is we're going to force our knee forward toward the wall so we make contact with our knee. Not hard, but just enough to gauge how close you're coming to the wall so that you can understand if you're progressing or not. And the main thing we need to recognize is heel contact. We have to keep that heel on the ground. So again, the reason it's three-way mobility is because we're going to do it in a neutral position, we're going to do it in an externally rotated position, and then we're going to do it in an internally rotated position. And go ahead and let's watch the video and you'll go ahead and see it. And we'll run through this video twice just to make sure you viewers in our class can see it. But as you can see, my foot's forward, 4 inches away. I'm really trying to drive that knee. Now I'm going to externally rotate, and I'm going to be driving that knee in the same pattern, or I'm trying to shoot for that same target area on the door. I'm not going to be just going in that straight, flexion extension pattern. I'm really trying to drive that ankle into internal and external rotation to really open it up so I can have hopefully greater range of motion, greater mobility, so that when I come to we'll watch it one more time. So when I come,
I was going to say,
yeah,
I'll see it one more time.
Yeah, let's see that one more time. So again, it's so you're prepared, you're warm. So when we do those exercises, Johnny, think back on those exercises that we were doing, how much ankle motion we needed to have. If you don't have it, you're now limiting yourself and you're sending the wrong signals up the body, which now the hip, the knee, other parts of the body have to really compensate for your lack of rotation. So as you can see, we went neutral, then we went external rotation. Now we're in internal rotation. Again, we're just trying to drive that knee forward and really try to loosen that up.
Hey, E, I tried these during your video replay. They're pretty difficult. Any reason why someone might have difficulty at first, and what advice would you give them if they're having trouble doing them?
Gotcha. Yeah, and perfect. I mean, great, great call. Great way of seeing that. Yeah, yes, they're not easy right at first. They are difficult. People do have trouble with them because it's not a pattern that we typically do, especially now in the days. Everything's so touch phone. We could just at the flick of a button, we get food brought to us. We don't have to go out. People are sitting a lot more. You know, our athletes, if they don't know to train this, they could have had an injury, and so they didn't know to train this to regain that range of motion. So if you haven't done this, yeah, it's going to be real difficult to start off and to go. And my advice is don't push through pain, but push through the awkward feeling that you have because you're not doing it right. Don't give up so quick. Really try to stay focused, keep that foot planted flat on the ground, and try to drive. Again, you might not touch the door on your first try, but it might take a week, might take a month. I don't know, whatever it might take for you, but you can and you will get better. And you're going to notice that you're going to have greater ankle mobility. And hopefully that translates to better hip mobility and a little less pressure if you're a runner. If you know, as you're out on the field, maybe your ankles don't get as sore, maybe your low back doesn't get as sore. These, again, I feel are very important exercises to do.
Okay.
So now we're going to move on to hip mobility. And I think hip mobility is key in this game. Specifically, we're going to target flexion extension right here. And what we're going to be doing is we're just going to, as you can see from the picture already, the leg is going to be swinging. We're going to be swinging forward, which is flexion. Then we're going to be swinging the leg behind us, which is extension. That's really going to help us loosen up the low back on that side, and then the hip flexor on the front of the side that we're working on. So again, it's real. I mean, best way I can explain it is just watch the video. And it's real. Main thing, keep straight up as best you can. I have my arm against the wall just to make sure I don't fall. And all we're doing is just swinging it back and forth, swing back and forth. And we're really trying to loosen up that hip. As you can see, I have some tightness in that left hip. And so my hips want to rotate out. We really want to make sure we try to keep them straight as much as possible. But mainly the goal is to go through a range of motion that's not painful. Then we're going to go ahead and switch feet. For sake of the video, I didn't do my right foot as well, but you, our class, our students, your kids, you would go ahead and do it on both sides. Now we're going to abduction and adduction. Abduction is movement away from the midline of the body. Adduction is movement back toward the midline. So essentially, we're just going to swing out and swing back in, swing out and swing back in. So for this one, I'm going to be facing the wall. Both hands are going to be against the wall, and we're just going to go ahead and swing the leg back and forth, be right in front of our other foot, and we're just loosening it up. What we're doing is really loosen up this hip, the capsule, the muscles that work the hip, the muscles that protect the hip, and especially our adductor. People who get groin strains a lot, this is a really good preparation exercise because we're really loosening up that groin. We're really allowing that groin to actively, relax so that we can get into some participation and we can get into some gameplay and not be bothersome. So again, class, that's all I got for you. I really appreciate your time. I thank you very much, and I hope you guys got something from it, and there was something that really piqued your interest and it's going to help elevate your game.
Eric, outstanding class. Let's recap our lesson, if you will.
Let's do that, John. Yeah, of course.
With all agilities, remember, it's control over speed, right?
For sure, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, the main thing to focus on is I want you to stay in control. I want you to make sure that you don't overexert it, overdo it, so that you get discouraged because you're not getting the footwork down. You're ripping up the ladder. Your guys are getting on you because you can't do it right. I'd rather you be controlled, get the pattern right, get the foot pattern right, get the movement right, and then you can always build tempo and speed on control. It could be hard to develop control when you're just going 100 miles an hour.
Gotcha. Now, secondly, let's discuss programming one more time. You recommend that doing agilities once a week is sufficient, right?
Yeah, I do, because of all the things that we're already training in baseball. I mean, we're hitting every day, we're fielding every day. We have our pitchers who are throwing bullpens, touching fields, they're playing catch every day. We have to maintain our total body strength. We have to maintain our shoulder strength. So we're doing rotator cuff exercises. We have to make sure that we're getting all the vital components, as well as also we got to watch video on other players. We got to know our competition. We got to do all that. So I feel that once a week is sufficient enough to make sure that if we don't have sufficient footwork, we're going to gain that work. And if we do have sufficient footwork, then we're going to go ahead and keep that footwork. And so it just doesn't overload and be overbearing. If you could get it in an additional time, that'd be great. But I'm not saying if you do it 2 times a week versus 1 time a week, you're all going to suddenly be Mike Trout or Brandon Crawford or anything. No, but you will elevate your game. You will elevate your footwork pattern. You will be that much of a better mover in the game, a quicker mover, by at least once a week.
And lastly, you talked about mobility and injury prevention. Give us your 2 cents on why mobility is important to health.
Gotcha. I kind of stated a little bit. My big thing with mobility is our bodies were made to move. Our bodies were made to go into certain positions. And when you start to lose mobility, whether that's muscular contracture, whether that's due to injury, whether that's due to maybe a surgical procedure in which you were in a boot or you were in a straight leg brace, whatever it may be, your body then goes into protective mode, protective spasm, and you lose that mobility. When you lose mobility, the part of the body that lost that mobility, now you're asking the part above and the part below to have to do more work. Now you start putting more stress on it. So let's talk about the knee. Let's just real quick. Let's say someone injures their knee and they lose mobility in their knee. Well, what's going to happen? Now their hip's going to have to do the work and their ankle's going to have to do more work. Now we're worried about them having back. I mean, the hip's already got to do enough. Why do you want to add more to it? Now we start having hip injuries. Now from the hip injury, we start having back injuries, all because we didn't take care of ourselves. We didn't get our mobility back from our original knee injury or whatever injury you might have. So again, the joint above and below are going to suffer if we lack mobility. And in my opinion, mobility is the foundation of a lot of things we do in baseball.
You're the best. Phenomenal class. Thank you so much for your valuable instruction, insight on footwork, agility, and injury prevention. Big League Coaching would like to thank every one of you that joined our classroom today and hope you join other Big League instructors, Bill Lasky, Gary Davenport, Mark Davis, Brian Harper, and Joe Youngblood. Thank you for attending the class. See you next time on Big League Coaching.
Thank you very much, Johnny. We'll see you.